Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the NHI might be implemented sooner than we thought, because a lot of analysts said it might take 10 years or something for this to come through, but the ANC is pushing for way less than that. So before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, please leave a like on this video, share it far and wide, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, let's get into it.
Issues of vibrators.
To make sure that we leave no unturned and stone.
Did I hear that correctly? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Newsflash. I'm your host, Joe Emilio. Thanks for tuning in. First NHI rollout dates revealed with a deadline hitting soon. The National Department of Health has set out a broad timeline for the rollout of Phase 1 of the National Health Insurance or NHI scheme, with its first big milestone coming up soon.
I can't believe this is happening.
That's right, the ANC cannot wait to get their tentacles into the health sector even more. So it seems that NHI is just going to be hectically pushed through. Let's have a look at what they think the timeline is going to look like. The first important milestone for this is expected at the end of November 2024, with the draft regulations expected to be published for public comment. The department has long argued that the actual NHI regulations would answer the many questions left open by the NHI Act, such as the phased launch of the NHI Fund, as well as the services that the NHI will cover. Other notable timelines include establishing foundation institutions by April 2025 and beyond, purchasing personal healthcare services for vulnerable groups by 2026 and 2027, establishing the NHI Fund as a Schedule 3A entity, board appointments by November 2025, and the entity in operation by April 2026. Now, we all know the ANC sucks at implementing stuff, right? But if they really want to do something, they will, even though it's like half-assed. So I think this timeline is extremely wishful thinking for the ANC, as I'm sure there'll be a lot of pushback from public comment, I hope. But then again, the ANC has shown before in the past that they don't really care about public comments. If they want to push something through, they will, and they will do it very sneakily. As David Ansara, the CEO of FMF, alluded to in this clip when he was addressing a former ANC worker, Dr. Confidence Moloko. This clip is from the YouTube channel Podcast Party, and it was a debate on the NHI. Have a look.
Dr. Moloko, you say that there's been this very transparent consultative process, but all of the submissions, there were over 100 submissions to Portfolio Committee in Parliament. None of those submissions were taken into consideration by the Portfolio Committee, not a single one. The bill was rammed through the process regardless of your consultation. Just because you happen to represent the state doesn't mean that you can act against the law and violate the rights of citizens. Ultimately, what we're talking about here is state coercion. And you have said it yourself. We don't want this second private pot of funds. We're just going to take that and collapse it into the public sector. That is not your money. That does not belong to you. You can't just by executive decree decide that you're going to take that money. I think, you're typing on your iPad. I don't have an iPad, and we have a national iPad shortage. And we've decided that we're actually going to take that iPad and we're going to give it to the needy because, those people need iPads more than you do. That's the analogy. That's effectively what you're saying.
And this brings me to the next point that everybody's been concerned about, the funding. The funding question continues to hang over the NHI, and coming regulations may finally bring some clarity. For now, however, there is no indication of what the government's plan will ultimately cost taxpayers, only that there is certainty that taxpayers will foot the bill, whatever it is. According to the Act, tax hikes and new taxes are clearly on the cards to implement the scheme. Section 49 of the NHI Act outlines the funding mechanisms for the NHI, which include general tax revenue, including the shifting of funds from government departments and agencies and provincial budgets and conditional grants, the removal and relocation of funding for medical aid tax credits, payroll taxes on employers and employees, and surcharges on income tax through a money bill by the National Treasury.
This is unbelievable.
So it could be one of these options, could be all of these options. We don't know, and we won't know until these regulations come out, which is pretty soon. Will you be commenting? Because I certainly will be. I mean, at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is this: South Africa cannot afford the NHI. Mike Satis from the FMF in the same debate made these very valid points. Have a look.
A good historical example is to look at what happened in Cuba when they nationalized their health system. Complete nationalization, complete takeover by government. They lost a third of their doctors within 12 months. Now, if that happens here, we're in huge trouble. Collaborative work, it can work. I think the issue, though, to look at, and I think more importantly at a macro level here, is you're killing the goose that lays the golden egg. If we look at the numbers in South Africa, our tax base, I think everyone knows it's a very narrow tax base. Can't remember the exact numbers. We've got about 7 million, I think, who pay tax individual. If we look at the numbers on medical scheme, out of the 9 million lives covered under medical scheme, you've got about 4.5 to 5 million taxpayers there. So it's about 80% of the tax-paying base also members of medical aid. So you've got this very narrow, small pool of people who pay their taxes to fund the public health system and pay the medical scheme contributions to cover. So both the public and the private health sector are sustained by this very narrow, small pool of people. How do you cost something that you don't know what it's going to deliver? So from a treasury point of view, it's a nightmare. I mean, they're going... and that's why if you look at various people in the marketplace, in the stakeholders, including ourselves, we've done costing analysis, what we think it'll cost. And it varies enormously from something like 200 billion, I think some people have come out at over R1 trillion, which clearly the country cannot afford. I don't think the country can afford anything more at this particular point in time in terms of taxes. If even in our own research that we've looked at, out of the 54 upper middle income countries in the world, of which South Africa is one of them, we rank as the second most taxed country out of those 54. So now we're going to add another 3% of GDP in taxes, which is what's in the white paper and the green paper. It will push our tax level to almost 30% of GDP. So to me, it's not an option purely from an affordability point of view, although
it just won't work. Now, of course, when the regulations come out and we're able to give our public comments on it, then I will definitely keep you guys informed. So keep a close eye on this channel. But in the meantime, let me know what you think about all this. Let me know, are you going to comment? I hope you will. And while you're down there in the comment section of this video, please leave a like on it, on this video, and also share it far and wide and subscribe to the channel. I've got more content coming your way. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Your newsflash is in.
Oh, no! No! I know they didn't just leave me up in here.
You gonna put your leash on next time?
I'm not talking to you, I'm mad.
You're just mad at yourself. Huh? It's your fault.
You don't wear a leash when you go outside. Well, I got you. Are they back? I want to go. I want to go outside.
Maybe
nothing.
Hey.
What?
Maybe next time you put on your leash.
Oh, this ain't no teachable moment. Where was I? Oh, yeah.
You're being a little dramatic.
No, I'm not. You need to let me out.
It's not the end of the world. They'll be home in a minute.
A minute? What? That's like 7 minutes in a dog's life. Oh, they back? Can I get my leash? Put my leash on.